again, and welcome back to the TheCyanFirefly. It's me, Azali.
And Lyette.
And apparently we decided to swap things up a little bit.
No. She decided to swap things up a bit.
Well, you get to do it all the time. I wanted to try it at least for once.
Well, yes, you can. And now you have. Are you happy?
No, not really, no. It wasn't as satisfying as I thought it'd be. You always look like you enjoy it doing the intro. Like, you know what, damn it, I want to try this for once. Let me have a go at it. It's not as satisfying as you make it out to be.
Anyway, Fireflies, welcome back to yet another episode of the Sunday Sit-Down. So, we are here today to discuss gaming stuff and what we've been doing for the past week, which has been a load of...
nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. As you know, our XCOM series has been going strong. I've only missed one episode so far, but that was due to some technical difficulties that set me back a little bit. We also didn't have a sit-down last week due to some things falling through that didn't...
It was quite a bit disappointing, unfortunately.
Yes, and those same things fell through this week, but we're still together to do a sit-down on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we are. So, the footage in the background of this particular video is trying to, as it will be for quite some time, at least until we finish the game, so...
This is the more interesting way of, I think, doing a playthrough.
Yeah. It's quite a fun game. We've been having a crap ton of fun with it when we actually sit down to play, which is basically only when we get to record a sit-down, so that's not really all that often.
Well, life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the ways that we wanted to.
Oh yes, for instance, with XCOM, the only time I get to play that is when I'm actually recording for the XCOM Let's Play. I wish I could play that game a whole lot more often than I actually do, but I don't, so...
Them's the breaks.
That's
so glad that you get to sit down and play at all. I'm stuck sitting on my computer doing a whole lot of nothing, because gaming just doesn't seem to work into my schedule.
Well, you're not stuck doing a whole lot of nothing. You're typically drawing, or you're going to work.
Yes. My
work just happens to be playing video games.
Lucky you.
Lucky me. At least you get a paycheck at the end of the week. Anyway. No.
Need I remind you about where that paycheck goes every day? Come on.
Don't get me wrong. I love my job. I just don't make any money at it. Sorry, that's just disingenuous. I do make money at it. I just don't make a lot of money at it. So, anyway. Trying to. Quite a bit of fun. Really great game. Glad that there's an open door policy on producing videos with trying to stuff in the background. Really great YouTube policy, which kind of brings us into our topic today.
Yes, it
which
does.
is social media and its impact on gaming. Which, let's face it, this topic's mainly going to center around YouTube, but we can discuss other social media such as
Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest,
MySpace back when it was a thing.
Is MySpace even still a thing?
MySpace exists. It's no longer a thing.
Oh, its existence is a thing.
No. It doesn't work that way.
It does today.
Like Legends of the Hidden Temple. It was once a thing. It's no longer
still
a
thing. It's a thing in my childhood. Don't insult it. Oh God.
Yes, I wonder how many of our viewers remember Legends of the Hidden Temple. I can't imagine it would be too many, because half of our viewers are from the UK.
I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon had their own version of a UK
I'm pretty sure it didn't
Temple.
broadcast over there, but correct us if we're wrong.
Yes, please do, because I would love to trade notes.
Including you, Sassy.
Purple Panthers! Yes!
Including you, Sassy Pants. Make sure to get your input there. If you don't know who Sassy Pants is, go watch the XCOM Let's Play. Anyway.
Oh, jeez, I'm criminy.
Yes, that would be my patented Jimmy Carr laugh. Anyway, moving right along.
You know, you can't really say patented, because I think Jimmy Carr was the one that patented first.
That's the joke. Anyway.
Hence me being a wise ass.
Moving right along. Social media and its impact on gaming. So, YouTube has actually kind of changed the whole ballpark as far as gaming goes. Because there are a lot of games out there that really can't afford advertisements, stuff like that, and end up getting a lot of free publicity due to stuff like YouTube.
Right. Mostly indie companies like Ludocraft and Air Buccaneers.
Now, this topic is kind of going to edge around some stuff we've already touched on. In fact, quite a bit on stuff we've already touched on, like our copyright discussion and stuff like that. But, fact of the matter is, social media has impacted gaming in a significant fashion. Minecraft would not be nearly as popular as it is if it weren't for YouTube. That entire game blasted off due to word of mouth passing across the internet.
Yep.
I don't want to say the singular reason why that's popular is because of Yogscast, but a large, significant number of the sales from Minecraft is due to the Yogscast making videos on a social media site and that promoted the game insanely. And stuff like this happens all the time. Air Buccaneers, a game that I've been covering quite a bit lately. You know, their CEO, Tony, really great guy. Talked to him a couple of times. But they gave me permission to make a video, and they did a developer interview with me. They also did one with Total Biscuit. The only reason why that game got greenlit is kind of because we gave them a ton of free advertising because of that. Right. Now, that game stands great on its own. It's fully worth everything that it's getting.
But it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have
gotten any publicity. Yeah. They don't have an advertising budget. We gave them the free advertising. Now, you can argue that the game is selling on its own merits. I mean, fact of the matter is, it wouldn't be selling if it wasn't a good game.
Right.
But that's not the only aspect of a sales pitch. You need word of mouth. You need people who can spread the information around. People like me and Total Biscuit. Now, there are some instances where there are big companies out there who can't afford advertising. Those games will succeed anyway.
But the little extra publicity won't ever hurt, because maybe somebody that doesn't watch TV but spends a lot of time online will catch an ad for it somewhere.
Well, it's not even necessarily that. For instance, a couple of people who watch our channel, for instance, didn't plan on buying XCOM until they saw my Let's Play of it.
Yes, I remember seeing some of the comments on that.
So, yeah, the impact that us YouTubers actually have on the industry is quite significant. I know I've actually managed to deny Guns of Icarus a couple of sales because of my staunch opinion on that game. As much as I know they put a lot of love and care into that game, it just... But the fact of the matter is, if you've got a big YouTuber who's made a video about your game and they really didn't like your game, it could make or break your title.
In an often case, it does. There's a fair number of times where that's even happened to AAA titles.
Huh?
Enough word of mouth saying something's wrong with this game has been a detriment to a sale. Maybe not a significant detriment, but a detriment in and of itself.
Well, I guess there are a couple of games that kind of flopped on its tail end due to AAA sales, word of mouth spreading around due to social media. I guess the best example of that would be, what was that game called? Street Fighter vs. Tekken. Now, for those who don't know the scandal involving that game, a couple of talented people managed to decompile that entire game, look at the files that were locked on the disc, and they found out that there were a number of, and we discussed this before, we mentioned it on our DLC episode, yep. But there was a number of fully playable characters. These characters were already designed, they were already put on the disc, and they were being sold as later DLC packs. Now, people got wind of this, and information got spread around, videos on YouTube got produced, and this game flopped. I mean, I don't have the exact sales figures, but very, very few copies of this actually sold compared to other AAA titles because of how quickly word of mouth got around. How many Twitter posts popped up, how many Facebook pages popped up, how many people protested on YouTube. I know the TGS podcast mentioned it a couple of times. So it really hurt the sales of this game. I know, for instance, a lot of people didn't end up buying Mass Effect because of all the crusades that went across the internet. So we have a lot more power than people realize because of all these social media sites.
Social media is the biggest sword in a user's hand when it comes to going up against these big companies.
Well, I'd even go as far as to argue, at least when it comes to the gaming industry, that social media is the biggest. It's the biggest market force out there for gaming. Every single gamer...
Technically for anything, really.
Yeah, every single hardcore gamer, or even most casual gamers, have access to the internet nowadays. Mm-hmm. If they see something bad about a game, chances are that will affect their decision on whether or not to play it, whether or not to invest money in it. So, it's a pretty big driving force nowadays. It's pretty surprising on what we can do if there's a big enough mobilization force behind it. Granted, there are some hardcore fans that'll buy anything. I mean, again, we saw that with with BioWare, where a lot of people went ahead and bought Mass Effect 3 anyway, regardless of everything that they heard about it, regardless of, people today still defend Mass Effect 3's ending, which everybody knows what my opinion on that one by now. If you don't, I made a couple of videos on it way back when. Go ahead and check. So...
Stop shamelessly plugging your own stuff.
I'm shamelessly plugging my own stuff on my own channel. I am fair to do that, thank you. I am fully entitled to plug my own stuff on my own channel. I think that's the point of having a channel.
Moving on.
But... I've lost my train of thought.
Went away.
Well,
Way with the wind.
Social media. We've also seen how social media can be taken advantage of, unfortunately. Social media has gone off in such a way that people can easily produce games that aren't really that good and can promote rather dangerous business practices. There's this company out there known as Zynga.
Oh, yes, and everybody knows this one.
Everybody knows who Zynga is.
If anybody's gone onto Facebook, they know Zynga. Or even MySpace, for that matter. I know that MySpace advertised for Zynga for a long time, too.
Did they? It's
MySpace
been a long time since I've been on MySpace. I know I still have an account there. I haven't checked it in years.
Same. I remember playing, this vampire thing off of MySpace, but Zynga was...
Oh, that sounds familiar.
It moved to Facebook. That's why I ended up playing it again on Facebook and saying, this seems very familiar, but it ended up being the same game, I think. Zynga...
I know what you're talking about. But Zynga basically has sold quite a bit of games, and I question to call some of these games because you don't really play them.
No, you click a couple buttons and you sit and wait.
That's really it. It's kind of like a window that you just gaze into every once in a while. You don't actively play a game. But the thing is, they have very, very predatory
business
practices. Yeah. They basically push a bunch of weird stuff at you that...
Oh, if you want to get to the next tier in power abilities, you can spend 10 of these points, or you can buy X amount of these points and
it's not even that. It's like you want this, that, and the other thing. You want this special kind of flower that nobody else can get. You can spend a whole bunch of money on this, this, and this. And it's like, in certain situations, this kind of stuff can be okay if it's like a purely cosmetic item. But no, this stuff actually puts you ahead of other people in the rankings. It can actually lead you to a higher point than what other people can access. This is more apparent in, say, Mafia Wars, because you can actually get very far ahead of the curve in Mafia Wars if you spend money, as opposed to somebody who doesn't.
Yeah.
So, other companies see the success of these small little Facebook games and they say, well, if they can do it, why can't we? And they pursue this really, really aggressive financial strategies that kind of hurt gamers. So
kind of? Try significantly hurt gamers, because it just sets a precedence that escalates and escalates and escalates until... Ugh. It's horrible. It's bad enough that big companies kind of do the same sort of backhanded dealings. We don't need these smaller companies to do it as well.
See, the thing is, big companies occasionally milk us, but they don't. I haven't seen them milk us on the same level that Zynga has its customers.
I'll give you that.
I mean,
I'll give you that.
You could make the argument with, not Treyarch, but the other one, the guys who made Modern Warfare, with how many DLC packs that they milk their customers for. For some reason, I want to say Trisol, but that's from Resident Evil, so... crap.
You've been seeing too much Resident Evil 6 commercials.
Whatever. You guys know the company that made the Modern Warfare series. But, yeah, there are some DLC practices that milk people of their money. But it's not on the level that these Facebook games do. It's not on the level that these iOS games do.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I guess it's even stretched to, like, Angry Birds and...
No,
shit
there's
like
a game.
that?
Angry Birds,
Maybe?
not so much. It's this. There was this one game. It was a big scandal not too long ago. I believe it's called Smurf Village.
I have never heard of this.
Well, there was a way that you could spend these points. Like, you could buy points and you could spend them to get ahead in the game.
Right.
Now, they made it so easy to spend points, and it would, like, bill directly to your card if it was put in. So a kid got a hold of this game.
No.
Parent put in their credit card information. Couple of button clicks later, this kid put, like, I think it was like a $50,000 charge. Or a 500... It was a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh my God.
Bankrupting level amount of money on the parent's card. Just from a few button presses.
I hope those parents did something about that, because...
I don't know where it went after that. All I know is that it happened. And the thing is, these games are aggressively pushed at kids.
And kids don't know any better.
And they're accessible through these social media websites. And they're pushed across these social media websites. It's a very harming business practice, and it does affect us as gamers. We should be concerned about this, and we should be voicing our opinions on it. Because it could start appearing elsewhere. It could start appearing in our mainstream games.
I'm sorry, I'm a little stunned that kind of small game could be that damaging. Like, holy crapping Christ.
Like, you're talking, this kid spent more money on that game than some houses cost. At least,
and that poor kid probably didn't know any better.
No.
And mom and dad, I hope that they didn't yell at their kid about that, because that poor little... Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh! Pardon me while I have a freak fit. What the...
But it's also... But social media is also on the good, on the aspect that the information on that particular, thing went out. People learned about it. They were able to educate themselves on it. The warning got out on Facebook. It got out on Twitter, and people, again, made YouTube videos about it. And now nobody plays that game. So...
With good reason. Thank God.
Again, it's a very powerful tool, but it's also a very harmful one. Because you have access to the good and the bad of the internet from these websites, from these social media sites.
Social media is a powerful tool. Let's just put it out there right now. It is an extremely powerful tool. But if you don't know how to use it...
It's not even a matter of not knowing how to use it. It's a matter of people can use it for good and people can use it for bad. People like... Well, I can't really say like me because I'm not big enough yet. But people who have a lot of viewers and who have a lot of followers need to make sure that they're educating themselves and make sure that they're educating their viewers.
Like, the Game Station does a brilliant job of educating their viewers about the good, the bad, the great, the ugly of games and developers.
Well, I can't say all of the Game Station does.
Well, no, I'm in a generalization.
The big names do.
I'm just using it as a generalization. Yeah. That's an example of a group that does a very good job and strives to do a great job at educating people. Then you've got somebody like Shoe Nice, or whatever that guy's...
please don't bring up Shoe Nice.
No, I'm bringing him up because this guy gives me a fucking brain exploding meltdown the size of 1,000 fiery suns.
I just need to get this off my chest. I looked up this guy recently after our whole dealings with him in,
King of the Web.
King of the Web. Yeah, He's
going up for, like, some sort of Super Bowl Doritos commercial.
Well, yeah. Basically, what Doritos is doing this thing right now where you can do an ad for the Super Bowl. You make an ad, you post it to their app on Facebook, and if you're the top-rated video, you get $1 million, and I guess you get to meet with Michael Bay or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Now, a lot of independent people are making videos. They're
really
really good
very
videos.
Impressive videos. Like, go on to Facebook and look up this contest and just watch some of these videos.
Like, for instance, this one little kid made a video where this is how I opened Doritos, and he actually attached a Dorito bag to a balloon. Flew it, like, he had a camera attached to this balloon so you could see it.
Yep.
He flew it up in outer space. The atmospheric pressure opened the Dorito bag for him. He tracked it down as it came back down and found the Dorito bag. And that was his commercial. It was amazing. That's cool. I really hope this kid wins.
But unfortunately, Shoe Nice is in the running, and his fan base have been plugging to get him the top mark.
And his entire video is he eats a bunch of chips, then he eats the bag, and then says thank you.
There's absolutely nothing impressive about that. And this is
and
an
not to
aspect...
mention, he also has a background with his name behind him.
Ooh.
But the thing is, this guy has, like, 50,000 followers, probably even more than that. But he has a crap ton of followers on YouTube, and he's plugging away, and making sure that all of his basic... I want to call him a cult at this point. Shoe Nice's following is basically a cult.
I'm probably gonna get flamed for this one, but Shoe Nice's fan base is like the epitome of sheep. I'm sorry.
No, that belongs to another YouTuber who I'm not going to mention on here because I'm pretty sure some of my viewers are fans of his. So let's just not even go there.
I'm going to just come out and say it. Shoe Nice's followers are a bunch of sheep because they don't have the brains to look at this guy and say, what he's doing is stupid and wrong and is harmful. And he's using a social media site to promote his stuff, and a kid is gonna see this kind of thing and replicate it.
People the size of Shoe Nice have a responsibility to be a good role model. He is not a good role model, and it's unfortunate that parents don't actually... Well, actually, I'm not even sure if a bunch of kids are watching Shoe Nice, because I've actually looked at his fan base, and they mostly seem to be, like, in the 32 area.
Well,
but
still,
it
It doesn't take a lot of time for a kid to decide, you know, I want to watch Justin Bieber on YouTube, and oh baby, and somehow they see something that Shoe Nice was advertising that somehow got into the list of Justin Bieber related videos, and clicks on it, goes, oh hey, this looks neat, and watches him swallow a bottle of glue.
Yeah.
And then somehow thinks, hey, that's funny. Let's see what more this guy has to offer. Fuck my life.
I'd like to point out that most people have stopped eating bottles of glue since they got out of kindergarten. Shoe Nice has apparently forgotten that message. Anyway.
So it's a little off track, but...
There's a runaway train going off in that direction.
Well, it did have some relevance because it's an example of
social media gone wild.
Yes, thank you.
Basically, I think the ultimate message of this particular PSA, as you will, is that people who have a following, who have a lot of people that they can influence, need to be better educated. They need to basically be role models. They need to stand up and beyond the average... How can I say this? they need to stand above and beyond the average dung-slinging peasant. Now, that's not the best way to say that, but you get my idea. They need to kind of stand...
above the refuse?
Yeah. They kind of need to pull themselves away from the crap. They need to have an educated opinion. They need to be smarter than the average bear.
Yeah. And this kind of goes back to what our something that we did mention in our last sit down is educate yourselves. Go out, do your own research. If you see something that seems interesting, but you don't know whether or not the information that you've been shown is valid, and let's be honest, that's a problem with social media, is you can't always trust it.
Yes.
You see something posted on Facebook by a family member going, "Oh, this is a horrible thing," and then you come to realize it comes from The Onion.
I think it's time to bring up stuff like Christwire and stuff like that, because that's another example of things going.
Yes.
Now, Christwire is a satire website.
Like The Onion.
Like first and foremost, Christwire is a satire website. It is very satirical. They have stuff like that in a about of link. So few people pay attention to that. And Christwire regularly submits, and these are supposed to be taken ironically. They're not actually serious, like anti-gay stuff and anti-democrat stuff and anti-scientist stuff. And they do this all the time, and they're doing it ironically to be funny. They're making a parody of extreme religious right stuff.
Right.
They aren't being serious, but people see Christwire and they don't know about this, and they don't really do the research about it. They never educate themselves, and they flip out and they say, "Oh, these people are so horrible, blah, blah, blah. We should crusade. We should send them hate mail." And they create a whole bunch of stuff out of nothing.
Pick any article off of this website, and you can read some of the comments that follow. And most of them are, whoever wrote this article, or OP, should be ashamed of themselves for writing this article. And then somewhere down the line, then maybe like one or two people to say, "Hey guys, it's satire. They're not being legitimate about what they're saying."
Yes, and
let's be honest, you and me have actually gone to Christwire the first time that we ever heard about it, and we read a couple of articles.
I flipped the hell out.
We read a couple of articles from this website posted on Facebook.
I clicked on one button at one point, and I was like, "Oh, this is a joke website."
Yeah, but
I just got so pissed off and so worked up for absolutely no reason.
But until we realized that, we'd actually posted a couple of articles from this website onto our Facebooks. And then came to realize that...
I fell for my own blunder.
Oh,
I constantly tell people that they need to do more research into this stuff, and I didn't, and I ended up making a big old donkey out of myself.
We're all human. We make mistakes. But the thing is, like, you make a mistake, you own up to it. And we were like, okay, hey, we're sorry. We made a mistake. It's a satire website. I did the same thing with The Onion. I read an article, and I was about to post it to Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and then I decided, you know what? Just to be on the safe side, let's look into this.
I think I did something like that with Romney recently. I saw something where Romney said he was going to put people into camps or something like that, and I went off the handle about it, and then, like, literally 2 seconds later, I saw the small little TOS that said, "Yeah, this isn't really a real website," and I was like, oh. Well, I need to go recant a couple of things I just said on Facebook.
But see, that kind of thing happens, and that is a legitimate danger of social media.
Yes.
In any form and fashion, because once you hit send, once you hit yes, post this, it's out there.
So I guess the final thing before we move back onto our original topic is what I want to bring on. This was a big bugbear not too long ago. The whole Coney 2012.
Oh
movement.
My freaking!
Now
this thing pissed me
if there is a
fuck
single
off.
viewer,
I'm sorry.
if there is a single viewer watching right now who doesn't know what Coney 2012 is, I'm going to tell you right now. Get out from under the rock you are currently living in. I'm not sure how you have an internet connection if you don't know what Coney 2012 is.
YouTube advertised the living shit out of Coney 2012 when that was big and
basically, just to give a little bit of background, this organization known as Invisible Children promoted a video called, I don't know the exactual. I'm making up new words every day. This group called Invisible Children promoted a documentary on a dictator known as Coney.
Now, Joseph Coney, to be specific.
Now, what Coney was doing, I believe it was back in 2005, was that he was creating
children soldiers. He was kidnapping people from
I forget the exact name for it, but it was basically children armies in the name of God. They were basically holy soldiers.
Yeah.
In what?
Uganda.
Nation? Uganda. Yeah, he was basically creating an army of children in Uganda, and he was
doing it by kidnapping the children.
It was basically a terrorist organization. No. Now, what Invisible Children didn't tell anybody is that Coney is no longer active. He went missing in 2008. He is not currently in the picture anymore. As far as everybody in Uganda is concerned, he's dead. Right. I mean, the United States government sent a couple of decisive strikes against his organization, and basically he went into hiding and nobody heard from him ever again. It's not even like Osama, who occasionally sent us a couple of videos to taunt us or make us frightened. This guy literally just flat out disappeared. He probably died in the jungle somewhere. So, he's not a problem. But
Invisible Children started doing this documentary saying, you need to send us money, you need to give us your support.
I think
so
ultimately,
we can catch this guy, and I remember seeing
don't know the
posters
exact
for Coney.
statistic, but I know less than 40% of the money that they raised actually went to Ugandan citizens. They didn't help the organizations. They were mainly paying off all their production costs. They were paying off all their employees. They weren't actually...
They were using the funds to create T-shirts and bracelets.
Yeah, there are so many more worthwhile charities out there that could actually go to help these people, and they were basically profiting off of a situation that wasn't even a problem anymore. I mean, I have a little sister who bought into this, and I basically wanted to grab her by her hair and shake her.
I remember driving all over town and like the neighboring town, and I would see posters for Coney 2012, and it just got me so angry that I got out of my car a couple times and ripped these signs off the telephone poles and off the walls of, like, supermarkets, because it's just really...
I would recommend not doing that, because if the police see you do that, you can be brought in for property destruction.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's
for our younger and more impressionable viewers, which is something that we kind of were just discussing.
It was a moment of frustration, and I know that it wasn't something that I should have done, but I ended up doing it anyway and regretting it, and did regret it later, but it's just, in that moment you're so angry about something, you just do something without thinking.
Something I'd like to point out right now, if you haven't gotten this vibe about Asley and I, we both have tempers. And our tempers particularly flare up when it comes to ignorant people. Which is kind of funny considering we're getting into the whole YouTube business, but...
yeah. The world is full of ignorant people.
I try to stamp out ignorance whenever... Well, I think I did say this before. There's nothing wrong with ignorant people. It's willful ignorance that I have a problem with. Willful ignorance is where you're no longer ignorant, you are now stupid.
Yes. Yes.
And that is the quantitative difference between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance is innocent, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you still seek to educate yourself. Stupidity is wrong.
Yes.
Anyway.
And that you got all these resources to your advantage, but people don't use them. All of the data for Coney 2012 was right there, and nobody did the research on it. Nobody went onto YouTube and looked up Coney 2012 and actually looked at some of the interviews with people from Uganda. There were at least 2 that I recall distinctly. One was a girl who lives in the United States but visits relatives in Uganda. Regularly. Like, once or twice a year, she goes back to the country to visit relatives. And
she basically said, I haven't heard about Coney in years.
Yeah. The other was a girl who lives there and point blank said, I don't know what these people in America are thinking because Coney isn't a problem right now. We have so many other problems, but Coney isn't one of them.
I had an aunt who basically, like, after I showed and demonstrated her all this information, she basically said, you go on thinking that. My friend is a missionary, and they told me otherwise. It's like, okay. Yeah, you take your missionary friend over Ugandan citizens who probably know better than your missionary friend, but whatever. So, I don't particularly talk to that relative anymore. But anyway.
Yeah, this is a whole other tangent. We have a habit of doing this.
But, so there you go, guys. Social media, it's a big bugbear. It's the elephant in the room. It's got its good and bad points. It can damage people. It can raise people out of the muck. It can do all sorts of very interesting things. You have to be very careful about social media. The big players in social media need to be better educated than the rest of everybody else because they leave a lasting impression. They have a bigger voice than others. Anything else we needed to bring up?
I can't really think of anything else to bring up because we really got off a tangent. It started off on the impacts that social media had on gaming, and then it just went off on its own.
Well, it all ties together. That's what happens when you get on a journey. Just the fact of the matter.
Yeah. Just ride it out.
So, I think that's basically all we can say on the topic because it all ties into one another.
Yeah.
Anyway, so more XCOM coming up for the next week.
Yep.
I've got all the footage recorded. I just need to get around to putting it all together and encoding it. I did fix the technical issues I was running into. I did wind up losing about an hour of footage, but you guys really won't see the difference because I managed to recover a save. So, I mean, you're probably missing about 10 minutes at most.
Yeah.
So, it's no big deal.
You guys are missing 10 minutes. I had to deal with him for like 20 because he was crying over his computer like, why did you do this to me?
Anyway.
Don't give me that look. You know it's true. I know what you do at night when I wake up. So
the TheCyanFirefly is now a single venture.
Oh, crap! Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh,
anyway. God. Oh, dear God. Anyway. So,
Now, I do have a question. Were you having any luck with, finding out the resources for our little project?
Yes, that's actually looking very promising. I have seen a couple of very interesting FTL mods. Our project does relate with FTL. I'm not going to say much more past that. But if you guys are aware of any interesting FTL mods, specifically ship editors, that I'm not aware of, that would be very helpful to me.
Yes.
But I am currently working with a couple of things. The mod I'm working with right now currently breaks shield animations, so it's not that great.
Yeah.
So if you see anything else out there, please let me know. But, yeah, that project is coming along quite nicely. Quite nicely. And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's all you'll say about it. I think you got the easier job, is just waiting for mods.
Yes, but I'm more referring to your stuff. Your stuff looks really cool. And again, that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all we're going to discuss, because we want to keep that top secret.
Yes.
Anyway.
I think all I'll say is I'm killing trees. I'm killing so many trees for this project.
Anyway. Stuff for next week. Do I have any? We plan on doing something on Worms Revolution. Revolution?
Yes, Revolution.
Yeah.
We've been having some issues with actually getting that recorded.
That keeps causing a hard
a read-write failure.
It's Fraps really kills classic HD drives, especially if it's writing to the same drive your operating system is on.
Yep.
Yeah, I really need to do something about that. Any other games that I was, I recently got in contact with a development company. They are making a game called A Virus Named Tom that looked pretty interesting.
Yes, I remember seeing something about that.
I will hopefully be doing a video on that. I have also gotten into kind of in contact with Clay Entertainment, and yes, it is Clay Entertainment, not Clay Entertainment.
Oh, okay, so we did figure out what the pronunciation is.
I forget if it's German or Dutch, but it's their word literally for clay.
Oh, okay.
So, it is Clay Entertainment. It's pronounced the same way.
Oh, okay.
So, there we go.
The more you know. And knowing is half the battle.
I've also been talking to Dan Bull quite a bit lately, and I've been trying to get in contact with Indie Static. So we'll see about. I'll explain to you later. But we may have some very interesting things coming up in the future. So just keep an eye out. I
think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well, don't hurt yourself thinking. I don't want to clean up the mess. I cleaned it up last time. It wasn't pretty. Like brain matter oozed all over the floor. It was just, ew. It was gross.
And that's Asley, folks. For now, this has been Lyet.
And Asley.
With the TheCyanFirefly, and we will catch you all next time. See you later, Fireflies.
See ya.